Hello everyone! I hope life is treating you well and welcome back. Or if you're new, welcome in general. Are you a drinker? I'm not really a drinker. I just don't like it. I don't care if anyone else drinks, I just don't like it for myself. So like, I think I've maybe had one drink. I did have one drink last month. I was at a wedding and two of my friends were getting married, so I had like the little bit that they pour in the cup just for like the toasts, and then I had like just like a half a glass of red wine. But before that I hadn't had anything to drink in like a year and a half at least. So that pretty much gives you a picture of how often I drink, like once a year or less. I'm just not a drinker. Just not my thing. You know, whatever. Just not. So, I live in a society though, I live in America where drinking is just like imbued in all sorts of social things. Anytime people get together, there's usually drinking, right? You go to a picnic, people have wine. You go to a bar to pick up some hottie and people have beer and shots and whatever, and go to a wedding, open bar, go to wherever, and a majority of the people who are of legal age are drinking. And that's fine. But being a person who is sober almost all the time, but around people who usually are not in the same situations, I have found that there are certain awkward things that happen when you are the habitually sober one, or just even if you're the sober one for the night. So like if you're playing designated driver for the night and you don't drink, you've probably had some of these happen too. But it hasn't happened to me like almost all the time because I'm not a drinker, so I'm kind of automatically that person. So today I'm bringing you the 4 most awkward things that happen to me as a habitually sober person. Number 4. You're never quite sure what to do when the bartender or waitress comps your drink. Like usually, I think because they assume that I'm the designated driver, which I am often in these situations. So, I'll usually get a soda, but then when the bill comes around, usually the host, you know, like waiter, waitress, bartender, whatever, they'll just be like, oh, don't worry about it. You know, it was just a soda, don't worry about it. But I'm a tipper, like, and I usually like to tip generously. And I'm never quite sure what the social, like, decorum is in this situation. So usually what I'll do is I'll estimate how much my drink was, and then, like, add $1 or $2, and then just tip them that. But that seems almost excessive since they were giving me my drink for free, technically. So, I don't know. I don't know what you do in that situation. I have no idea. It's weird and it's awkward, and I sometimes just wish they would charge me, so that way I know what I'm getting into. Although it's really nice of them to cop it. It's just weird for me. Just weird. I don't know. Number 3. When someone being nice without asking you buys you a drink. Like, you'll be out with friends and maybe someone who is just like sort of a casual acquaintance buys a round for everyone. Like they'll just bring back like a tray of shots and they'll start handing them around. And they'll usually like hand me one. And I'm not really sure what to do with that because I don't really want it. I sometimes will drink like wine, but shots, ugh, good. Ugh. Yeah. Just no. But then I feel bad because they spent their money and they included me in their count, which was very kind of them. It was very kind of them to think of me. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to just drink it because they bought it for me, because it's just not something that I like necessarily going into my body. Because usually I have a headache the next day, even if it's just one shot. I don't know what the headache. So, what do you do? What would you do in that situation? That's what I want to know. Tell me down below. Number 2. Now this one is actually more fun because really it becomes funny stories later, but it's always awkward at the time that it happens. And as the designated driver or the usual designated driver, there's almost always a Taco Bell run at the end of the bar night, and you're with your friends. And they're all yelling their orders at you while you're trying to order. You know, they'll be like in the back seat being like, I want a chalupa, you know, like, or something. Or like they don't really know what they want, like they don't know what it's called. They'll just be like, I want that beef thing with the cheese, with the beans. And you're just like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So you have to apologize like 50 times to the poor dude like taking your order at Taco Bell at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So that's always fun. But in hindsight, it's always kind of funny. So shout out to all of my besties that I've done that with, because awkward at the time, but freaking funny later. But anyway, the number one awkward thing, when you're out with like, especially like new people who don't know you or whatever, don't know you well, first time you're maybe out at a setting where drinks are going to be a thing. Sometimes people like point out like, oh, you're not drinking. And having that like first like initial conversation with them about that is sometimes awkward, because they'll be like, oh yeah, I don't drink. But then I feel like I need to qualify it, because this is probably me just being myself and way overthinking their reaction to my saying this. But sometimes I swear they get this like look in their face like, oh, she must have been an alcoholic at one point. Again, probably reading into the situation a little bit, but I think that they think it's weird that I don't drink, because we are in a society that like pretty much everyone does. And like, so I'm pretty sure I've had occasions where people assume that I'm just like a recovering alcoholic, and I'm not. I've never had a problem with alcohol. Again, just not my thing. I don't like to do it. It's fine on anyone else who does. I don't judge them. I hang out with people all the time when they drink, and it's fine. But yeah, I feel judged when I tell people I don't drink. Not always. There are a lot of people that are really cool about it, but sometimes they just start to get the look in their face, and I just think, oh god, they think I'm an alcoholic. And again, I want to add here too that like, if you are someone who's a recovering alcoholic, kudos to you. Like, I think that's great that you are maintaining your sobriety, but I think it's a problem culturally when I think that a lot of people think that, that's their go-to explanation of why someone's not drinking, or they think you're pregnant, That probably should have been number one. They think you're a recovering alcoholic, or they think you're pregnant. You can't just not be a drinker. I don't know. We live in a world that drinks too much. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I think it's fine that we drink socially and whatever. But I do think it's strange that those are the two, like, default assumptions if you're not drinking. It can't just be like I am, where I just choose not to do it. It just doesn't seem to be that way. I don't know. So why don't you tell me down below in the comments, are you typically the sober one? Do you drink? Have you had friends in the past that were like me and don't really drink? What were your reactions to that? Like, how have you dealt with that? Or how have you dealt with like some of the situations where people assume you're an alcoholic or assume you're pregnant? Or when you've had friends in the backseat saying, I want a chalupa. Like, what did you do? Tell me about it. Tell me all about it, because I'm sure I'm not the only one, and I want to hear your stories. Until next time. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't seen it already, go ahead and click the link to check out my last video. You can also check me out on a variety of social media sites at The Nerd Boutique. And if you haven't already, click that subscribe button so you never miss any of my future videos. And I hope to see you next time.